let's just start, and I will try to get them in both, because I would like to start just by asking you to introduce yourself. Maybe Michel, you can start?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. My name is Michel Vermeer, and I work for Blockbacks. And I'm together with one of the founders responsible for the commercial side of the house. Quick company introduction, or are we going to do that later on?
Yeah, please do. Yeah,
it'll be interesting because there's 5 of us. So what we've developed is a easy to use platform where we basically we tame a lot of the complexity associated with working with sensor data. So things associated with performance, large amounts of data. Basically, we stick all of that under the hood, as they say in English, and allow for business users, business experts to actively participate in building solutions around that sensor data. You can configure the rules and the alerts in a user-friendly UI, and you're not falling back into, let's say, coding it with Java or .NET, which of course is less readable for let's say, normal people from the business side. So, and from that, you build up your own IP on how you want to handle that data and what insights you want to get out of it, and pass those on to other operational processes. That's in a nutshell what we do.
Clear, thanks. Tom, can you introduce yourself and Signal Sets?
Yes, I'm Tom van Oost. I'm the founder of Signals. Signals is an IoT analytics platform. So it's very easy to use, and we have multiple connectors to connect multiple sensors to a data source. And then the idea is that you can add your own custom algorithms, analyze the data, and visualize it in a professional way to share, for example, with customers. So under the hood is complicated, but it looks very simple for the end user. That is our main goal.
Oké, dankjewel Tom. Ik zie dat René is toegevoegd. Welkom René.
Dankjewel.
We zijn bezig met een kort voorstelrondje, maar neem nog even je tijd. Dan geef ik eerst het woord aan Koen.
Ja, top, dankjewel. Thanks. I will continue in English, just to be sure. So I'm consultant. I'm working with Esri, the Netherlands. We are a worldwide organization focused on location intelligence. You already saw something really nice in Tom, his overview. Esri is really the organization that puts all the data together on maps. So we can connect with any kind of system, any kind of resource, as long as it has a location. You can summarize, you can analyze, and you can make based on that information in our platform. So, thank you.
Thanks, René.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm René Riemens, CEO of Swix. We have an IoT platform available, including an IoT gateway, and together you can use them to make an IoT infrastructure in buildings. And from there you can easily connect any IoT device or building related installation.
Very clear, thank you. Juuso, he's from Finland, if I'm saying correctly, but he's struggling with his audio. Juuso, is it now fine? No, unfortunately it froze again. Let's continue and see if he can participate. Yeah, for me, I organized this Smart Sensor Challenge, where 134 companies applied, and 40% of that companies were platforms. So to be quite honest, I think it's very difficult to know which platform you need for what application, because in my view, you only need one platform and then a lot of sensors to adapt to that. And how can we help people choose and start?
What might be interesting if you're looking to the location intelligence platform of Esri is that location sensors is very important, but what you see is that there's also already a lot of information available. For example, one thing that we use here in the highway, in some of the exits of the highway, we already have sensors available from the government. So you don't even need sensors to start measuring. So the important thing is that for us as a location intelligence organization is that you combine not only the sensors, but also other kind of information that's valuable for your organization. So it's not only about censoring, it is very important. You see that more and more organizations are going to do that censoring, but you need to make information from the data that you're collecting. And I think the rest of the guys can agree that the software or the platforms that we deliver is making that the change from data to intelligence. And I think that's really what you have to look for. Like, what's the thing that you really want to achieve? Would you only like to collect data? Then it might not be interesting to use a platform. But if you really want to based on your data and transform that to information, I think that is the thing that we will need to do in a platform. And no matter, it doesn't matter so much if it is sensor data or 3D information or any kind of data that you can use to put on a map. That's what Esri does. But I can imagine that the rest of the guys as well will help you to get that data and make it information. I'm wondering what the other guys think about it.
From that point of view, but our strategy is to help people manage their building related information to have an insight in the health of the air quality, for example, or maybe energy management. So in our point of view, it starts by sensors, because you need to know what is happening in your room or what is happening with your building related installation. So that is the reason that we have developed not only a platform, but also a piece of hardware to connect easily all that kind of sensors, what you need to have for measurement in a room, for example. So that's another approach for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, Stephanie, your initial question was, how can we provide guidance in what platform to pick? Basically, I think was your question, right? Because we're all operating in a similar domain. I think our websites will, at glance, say similar stuff. Now, my advice, my strong advice is to test vendors, but test more than one. I'm not looking for more work to engage with customers, but I see that, for some reason, people just tend to go with a vendor that they, in some cases, may even accidentally bumped into somewhere, where it's very important to first and foremost look at how broad is the scope of what you want to do with sensors. Is it just smart buildings, or maybe is it even more? Like, we talk with larger construction companies that are also looking into bridges and tunnels and stuff like that, which basically changes the requirement for the platform that supports all the sensoring and all the analytics that you want to do. I'd start there, but then from there on, I'd advise organizations to do pilots with multiple. We all claim to be quick, fast, furious. So we can do something in a couple of days. You don't have to test it for months. But my strong advice is to put the vendors to the test, also from a performance point of view, because you're stepping into something which is going to be very important and very big for a long time. And you don't want to step into something that, even in 6 months or 12 months or even 24 months down the line, isn't built for the type of performance you're looking for instance, or isn't built for the type of coverage you're looking for. So that's my advice, because that every customer is different. So our platforms may fit better or per customer case. But that's my strong advice. Test multiple vendors, not just one.
And do we already have these proven cases to show to our customers to see what the benefit is for them?
Maybe someone else. I just talked for a bit.
I also want to emphasize the openness of the platform. So it's really important that you have an open platform, because I see usually with the hardware sensors, they also include software, but it's a very closed ecosystem, which is a big problem if you want to combine data from multiple sensors, from multiple brands. I think it's really important that the platform is open and that also other systems can interact with it.
Yeah, I agree on that. And I think, on top of the open platform, in our opinion, you need to be able to connect to any software what's already available by customers, because you don't like to introduce one or more new software solutions. So from the sensor side, yes, it needs to be open, but also from the software side, the user interface.
Mm-hmm.
And back to your question, Stephanie, because you asked, are there proven cases? Yeah, we have those. So we can back our story basically with stories, but still the way that our platform is used is so different from customer to customer. The use cases are different. The data associated with those use cases is different. So from those proof points on, setting up a sensible POC where, as best you can, look over technology, because that's still something people are actively sort of worried about, maybe even. Will it work? Will it connect? Is my entire building covered? Questions like that, which are important. But we challenge customers, look over those technical hurdles, which we will help you overcome, and have a conversation about where and how can we help drive down cost or increase user experience, because those are the main drivers, in my opinion, of smart building specifically. Look over the technology and look for what are the top 3 maintenance issues I want to fix. What are the top 3 things that there are building users complain about, and what can we fix those, and then work your way back from there. So, like I said, look over technology and into business value, even whilst you're still in the midst of connecting sensors, testing them, building them, finding out all sorts of stuff. Yeah,
because I think in the end, 5% of our buildings are smart. I read somewhere, I don't know if it's true, where you have 5% of all of our buildings are smart.
Yeah.
What is your vision on that? Will that be 50%? What will it be in the future?
So we have been working on a project in Zwolle, here in the Netherlands, where we see that not only buildings are getting smarter, that's for sure. More and more organizations are planning to implement sensors to improve the living environment of the people. But we also see that more and more consumers are willing to help with that. I will share a case in a little while in the chat, where we can show how Senshagen, it's a neighborhood in Zwolle, where everybody decided to put their own sensors in and then combine it together. So it's not only for new buildings, but also for already existing buildings. And it might be interesting to check that out in a little while, how we've been collecting data from, the people living there. And it can be in sensors, it can be also in forms online. But yeah, also over there, a lot more buildings are being made with sensors inside. And yeah, it's interesting to see how they are doing. Housing associations are very looking forward to that as well. Their buildings better. It would be amazing for them to have that.
Yeah,
but I think especially housing associations don't know where to start, and they're really aware of the fact that they will be locked in if they choose one platform. So how can we help them making it more accessible?
Yeah, we have experience in that case. So longer house living is a very hot issue. So we have done a lot of houses already to support longer house living for elderly people, but also for support the mental health care in houses. So all that kind of sensors can be used to make profiles of the daily living, right? So that kind of solutions are very interesting for housing association companies.
Yeah, and then you start with a theme. So the theme is longer living at home, and then you apply all sort of sensors or hardware to help them.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, and I think that's Stephanie. So a piece of advice. That's to my earlier point on comparing platforms and making sure your long-term requirements for the platform are somewhat clear for yourself. So that's for the end game, if you like. That being said, you will need to start small somewhere. You can't boil the ocean.
Yeah.
So you need to start with a specific use case for a specific type of sensor in a specific area, maybe even. That's a first bit of experience that you can gain, then build up from there, so that you're starting small, but you're thinking big. So you start with a platform that can do a lot. You're starting small, but you're working towards something that's more on a bigger scale. I think for housing corporations specifically, to a certain extent, it's still uncharted territory. There are a lot of use cases that are simply there are no sensors for, even to my knowledge. Things that have to do with window posts, jamming locks, jamming doors, stuff like that. Everything you could make better with a sensor, but they're not out there yet. So that's also challenging, where they need to think, is it important enough? Shall I develop this sensor myself, which is perfectly possible? So yeah, that would be some more guidance, I guess.
And what is your opinion on starting your own platform in your company? Of course, you would all say don't do that, but there are a lot of things to be said for that, huh?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah. I know a lot of companies doing that. They just develop their own platform. I think it's very closely develop everything yourself. I'm more for an approach that you use a standard platform, and we enable customers to build their own apps on top of the platform. So I think you need to choose a very solid base, and on top of that you can create applications that are really tailored for a specific problem. Because I think this is very important, because you cannot win the race with just with a standard platform. You need applications around it that are solving specific problems.
Yeah, I fully agree. That's the area where you can differentiate yourself from your competitors. Even with platforms like us, in itself, having a platform like Blockbacks or like some of the other vendors in itself will not differentiate you at all. It's about, how do I use this platform, and how do I do things differently or do new things that my competitors aren't doing. So if I'm starting to think I'm going to build this myself, I challenge to think, is this in itself going to help me differentiate myself? And I think I can speak for all the people on the table here. We have 10 people working full-time on this platform, and those are very, very, very high caliber individuals, if you like, and they've been working on this platform for a number of years. I think that goes for everyone on this table. So just think about you need to catch up first, and then you need to be able to, as a company, find these people, keep them entertained, and be ready for maintaining a complex technology stack. And that's simply not for everyone. The bigger, like the Shells of this world, they'll do that. But for maybe a housing corporation or a building company, I'd highly challenge whether it adds enough value to build something that you could easily rent or buy.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like a war on platforms, huh? Because I think 10 years from now, who will survive? Shouldn't you collaborate together?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I think we're open. So I think if there are customers that are looking to integrate for whatever use case, like from what we may be doing somewhere with what's happening in Zwolle, for instance, that could perfectly work. I'd say collaborating and offering that would mean merging, I guess. Otherwise, there's too much overlap. We're fishing in the same pond to a certain extent. Yeah.
René, hoe zie jij dat?
Platform is not the endpoints. So you can use a platform to enable the business, or to make it easy to get data out of your building and bring it easily back to the user interface. So that's basically the you can do with a platform, but the platform on itself, you cannot use the platform as platform.
No.
You need to have a space. We do a lot of projects in the occupancy of the occupancy of buildings, people counting, and so on. So the sensors are still there, but the connection to the information is not available in only software. So that's where the platform came in. to connect easily the real data out of buildings into software. So, and some platforms are focusing on the sensors in buildings. Other platforms are more focusing on sources on the internet. So I think, when you provide your platform on a very nice license model, anyone can survive because anyone has a specific added value.
Yeah. Hey, Yuso, can you hear us already? Because I see you in joining the table, but no, I don't think so. No, so in the end, what you're saying, it all starts with a use case, start small. And I think what is interesting, we talk about ecosystem a lot of times during this event. I think you can play a big role in that as the offer of a platform. Can anyone elaborate on that?
Yeah, but why do you start small? Because we're talking about proven technology. So you maybe the customer need to be get trusted with the platform, but the sensors, the platform are proven nowadays. So you can just start. Why do you start small? Just start.
Yeah. I think that's more than also I think what Michel meant, just start, because if I look at housing associations, for them it's sometimes difficult to just start, but just start with one use case and then build on that.
Yeah. I agree on that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's it.
Like about the story of Michel, like try different approaches. There's a lot of overlap for sure. There's also a lot of difference between the software, between the learning curves that people have to go through. It's very interesting to check that, like, what is the time that you can invest by yourself as a company into learning how to use a platform. If it's very low level, then you can start maybe directly. So it really depends on the organization where you want to start. So I think what Michel told earlier, like, watch around, invite some of these organizations, start a proof of concept, check what is the added value of each of these platforms. It's really something that I would advise to anybody, because I know that our platform can be very demanding of people. So if that's not your style, maybe we're not the organization. But if that is your style and you really want to develop knowledge, then we are more interested.
Yeah.
I
think we're coming from from the other side, maybe even. So that's why it's very important to compare. Yeah,
but I also think what René pointed out, you also need to integrate with other software, because IoT is not a problem that is isolated from the rest of the world. There is a lot of data in other systems. That is really important to connect with as well. So it's not only IoT data that matters.
Yeah. Sure. No, agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what you're doing from signals, more the geographic data.
Yeah, for example, geographic, but also data from the planning, for example. Everything is related together, and you don't want to create a new island with only IoT data.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think the market is really looking for these best practice cases as well. What is the business case? What is the added value? And then based on that, how can we start? So it would be perfect if you guys could provide the market with that. And maybe to close it up, because we only have a few minutes, maybe you could all elaborate on a proven example you experienced. Koen?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, I already told already a little about Senshagen. Another one is, we are an international organization. We've got a lot of examples in the United States. And what we see is that the information about heaters in buildings, about there's a whole campus that is really using our software to get those information, but also to use, for example, if any light is broken, they will get an automated signal from that light that it has to be broken, this kind of type, etc. So it can be really like all including if you really would like things like that. We got some great examples from the United States. I'll post one here in the chat as well. to give people a little more idea about how location intelligence works for organizations like that. But yeah.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, cool.
A lot of nice cases that might be interesting. So I'll share them here.
Super. Yeah, please do. Thanks. René, do you have one example which stands out of the last couple of years?
Yeah, I told already about the occupancy of building. For the social distance, we have already solutions. That kind of solutions are very, how do you call it, clear.
Relevant.
Yeah, relevant indeed. And a lot of, we did already a lot of buildings with that solution. So we are very proud of that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Thanks. Yeah. Tom, do you have one example?
Yes. Water is very important nowadays, clean water. We have a case where there are water sensors measuring the quality of water. And this is a really good business case because it's very important what you drink, for example. When water is like of a poor quality, to measure this kind of things, how much water. So that,
can imagine. Yeah,
business case.
Yeah, certainly nowadays. Michel.
Yeah, I think a company TBE is interesting to mention for us. So they are actually they're far ahead, but also in early stage. What they're doing is they're testing the use cases for sensors on a lot of different areas. So they're using our platform it literally is from occupancy to indoor climate to things that have to do with energy consumption. But then on the other side, also getting information out of a highway tunnel to see how they can optimize their maintenance processes. They're doing a very broad evaluation, basically, not only your platform, but also of how and where that can add value. So I think it's a cool company, of course, with a lot of different sister companies that we're also engaged with, also in the smart building area. So yeah, something we're proud of as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Cool. Yeah, thanks guys for all the examples and the discussion. We're already finished our time. It's going really quick, 25 minutes. But I hope we gave the audience some sneak preview on what the difference can be in platforms and how to use them. And I think, hopefully we will get from the 5% to 100% smart buildings and smart environment. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for hosting this, Stephanie.
Yes, you're welcome. Have a good day.
Yeah, same to you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.